What's good, YouTube, and welcome to the house. Today we're going to have an analytical breakdown of the new battle set. I know it's been a while since we've done numbers, and we're going to start with some very alarming ones. The pulls between the NA and EU creators on Starlight Rares, absolutely zero on the NA side, oh my gosh, and multiple for every EU creator. What is happening here? Are we just unlucky and we're on the 3 to 4 per case on NA? Or is it just 1 per case like the olden days and it's super hard to get while the EU's just Starlight, you get a Starlight, everyone gets a Starlight? This is madness because Starlights are the ultimate chase pulls and something like super easy access for the EU and terribly hard to get for the NA, but we don't have a huge data pool yet. It's still extremely alarming early to see something like this though. One good thing though is the amount of cards that only had or would have one printing here released within the set. Stuff like number 69 needed a reprint. Nice to see Lib in here. These aren't exactly the biggest pulls in the world to the set, but that is a good amount of numbers in this thick, I think 170 plus card set list to actually see their way in here. They did miss the heraldic Leo that we'll talk about later. So let's talk about the good, the bad, the ugly, and my thoughts. I'll actually give my synopsis real quick. I think this is a mid-plus set. I think it has some things going for it and it's not a complete bust, but it misses the mark for meta players by a wide margin. What's in here for them? Some rogue upgrades, the new decks, and that's about it unless you're into past formats. I think that this really appeals to casual players and catching them up, which is a good thing to have in a set from time to time, as well as for collectors, but the chibi cards are a bit of a weird mark on that. Like, I don't think I'd pay above $30 on the Skull Servant, and that might be the one I'm most excited for. Blue Eyes is always a huge pull, a unique art for Blue Eyes and a Starlight Rarity. That'll probably be some money. But overall, I do think versus past battles and the cards they went back and picked and chose for Quarter Century Secret Rare and Starlight, this definitely is not on the same level, and it's still 25 of them, even though we're out of the Quarter Century Secret Rare, which feels a little lazy. That being said, let's go ahead and talk about the good picks in here. We're not going to just bash the set, we're going to look at every aspect. The Primite package got fully encompassed. They got Ether Barrel. I didn't expect that. They put Drill Beam alongside Lordly Load, which actually had buyouts as well heading into this. Like you can see it spiking up in price, going towards $10, and you can bet it would have catapulted to like $25, $30 for the WCQ if it didn't see its reprint. Instead, it's falling down immensely already. That's a pretty good job by Konami. It's nice to see not a missing piece where another one just absorbs the value and takes that. Stardust Cipher Divine Dragon is very nice to see in here. It was like a $20 card at this point, and that's the other thing about the list of cards with one printing. Stuff like this to me are still pretty much one printing when they're this old. The mega pack is nice to see, but it's still within that encompassing cycle that we've come to know, and a lot of people have complaints with what the set missed. Herald of the Orange Light Ultimate Rare gets a buyout recently, right? Like it went up way in price versus that graph, and it gets a Starlight Rare in here, so that's a nice other mid-max to max option that people can pick and choose from on a card that was getting traction in a timely manner. We have the Secret Baby Rulers, and I do have a complaint with this compliment. It's nice to see them in Secret Rare. However, I feel like that should have just been in something like Bonanza. The nostalgia pool feels extremely restrictive and leaves Konami this option to go ahead and fill in gaps later. So we see all the Baby Dragon Rulers selling out for their Quarter Century Secret Rares, people thirsty for a mid-max, and here you go, here's the timing. But Konami created that entire window, didn't they? So it is nice to see that they are in the set while they're hot, but it's also kind of a perfect storm Konami created themselves on the situation. Masterpiece also is in that same boat. It got, you know, the nostalgia pool, and now it gets a secret rare. Summon Sorceress. I think they forgot to unban her or something like that. Here she comes, eroded. And then Lancia with like its third secret rare. It's notable. It's got traction, but it already had a battle secret. I would have liked to see it more towards the ultra pool. Triple tactics talent, this is the kind of thing I'll never complain about and always ask for more of. Something like an Ash Blossom in the set, or just that mid-level, give you your pullback value. Like, it'll probably debut at $3 to $4, right? This is currently a $5 card that's found its way back to $10. A reprint circumvents it from going back up like crazy all of a sudden by giving a more recent, more accessible option. Great job on picking reprints like that, but again, it appeals more to the casual player that hasn't gotten around to getting theirs, even though it's a $5 card. Same with Forbidden Droplet. It's now headed back up to $10 from like $6, and that's because it got a huge boost from Shifter going away down to 1. This is now getting another reprint within the set in the Ultra slot, so easy access versions. Even if they're short printed, that should be like 8 out of 12 boxes or something like that in the past for the short prints, and it's a way bigger pool too, but still, an ultra slot's a great place for cards like these. Cannot complain at all, but it is lackluster versus the heavy hitters that were in years past, which is exactly what's missing. We have a past format one, Magical Android, that's hitting harder in terms of a price reprint than these, but will come down in price thanks to it finally having a reprint. The Mulch Armies, you know, you could have short printed, I suppose, Meows. Usually the top print before WCQ ends up short printed so that it maintains value for their next reprint. They kind of missed one of those in here, and even though we harp on them for short printing those cards, it's still better to see it in the set shorted than not at all. And missing a Mulch Army for the set, like they did Perulia and shorted Perulia, and now you see that the ultra rare is $60 freaking dollars, but there was a point where you could get it at 25. That's the kind of thing you still should include in the set. Meows would have been nice to see right in there for the WCQ while people chase the other cards. Or a Dominus Impulse. Heck, Purge is also missing, but Dominus Impulse would have been good. I get they still have to sell the 10s, and they have to sell other products, but they've been pulling more and more out of the 10s and finding other ways to sell them through the years. This year, we know we have easy access cheap Starlights, and A might be a little thirsty for those, but when it comes down to it, it would have been nice to at least see one of these two in, at worst, a shorted secret rare slot or something like that. Heraldic Beast Leo is missing is what people are pointing out. Maybe it'll be an OTS pack or something like that, but it's a $7 rare at this point. The Kashtira cards have actually come down in price. A lot of people are complaining about not another reprint for these. They have 2 printings, and like I said, when it comes to a 10 printing, to me, that kind of over time becomes the same print cycle that we've come to expect, having 2 versions of the card. So is it a true reprint or kind of just the cycle at this point? Yes, it is a technical reprint, but within the cycle of cards, we expect those 2 printings, and then we're wondering when is the next one for the card, and we're getting to about that point we should really see some of these cards get their 3rd printing, and we're just not getting that option. And with that, they stay above $10 on Fenrir's, and a lot of these are hanging around the $10 mark, and it is, for something that old, a bit expensive for what it is. The Bestials I'm more pressed about. I think Lubellion, Jerusalem, they need it. Magnamut could use another one, sure. The Bestials are a more important package on the top of my list, and I did call it out. I did say, hey, if they miss battles, we'll talk about it. Here we are talking about it. Konami missed the mark in terms of not getting to this before the WCQ, for not doing something about it. And even if they're down in price a bit from when we last talked, from the hype of them missing 1 reprint set, here they are missing another reprint set, and they do have demand within the community. They should have some kind of high rarity, and you're missing the mark by missing the WCQ season and missing potential money. Like, I would have loved to see a Starlight Drew a Swarm, Starlight Lubellion, even though the QCR is so expensive. I know a lot of people would be mad holding the QCR of that, but I do think that that's something they could have started cycling in, because they're going to do that with Starlights. You already know. Then we have Chaos Angel, also missing the mark. It's had its 3rd reprint in an OTS pack, but that's an upgrade, not a true reprint in terms of giving you accessibility and value on a card. And I do think that Chaos Angel could have used one more. And then the Versus stuff is oh so hot coming up, and none of it was in there. And yeah, this is going to be a very expensive deck if they don't get around to it at some point. But those are the community divides. There's a lot of people saying, you know, it's mostly casual stuff. Where's my big reprint? Where are these reprints? And that's going to be every set. Like, oh, they missed this, they missed that. But in this case, this is 2 sets in a row missing a lot of that good stuff. And where is the big reprint? And where are the things for meta players? I want to say, again, to me, mid-plus set. It is giving more than the typical dumpster fire set, but at the same time, it misses the mark on a lot of degrees, at least to me. Let me know what you think of battles, and also what do you think about our limited knowledge on the creator pulls? This is actually just the most ridiculous graph in the world.